Hello, I'm Kent Strano, and for my recreation project, I wanted to focus on men's health. Thank you for listening to my presentation. The Movember Foundation and movement began in 2003 in Melbourne, Australia. It spread to several other countries, including the United States, by 2007. The Movember Health campaign was launched to raise awareness of men's health and to promote a yearly charity as well as growing mustaches in the month of November. The men grow the mustaches as a symbol for changing the face of men's health. The health issues Movember is focused on are prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and men's suicide. By the way, one thing they did not seem to consider is that some men in ethnic and racial backgrounds cannot grow facial hair. Some background on why the Movember campaign targets men's health issues includes the fact that men die on average 5 to 6 years earlier than women and have higher mortality rates from several cancers such as prostate and testicular cancers. Male mortality is also 30% higher than females in the first year of life. Sperm counts and quality, which some health professionals claim is an indicator of overall health, have declined over the past 40 years, with 1 in 20 men now facing reduced fertility. Some health conditions may also occur because society overlooks men who are overweight, smoke cigarettes, or suffer from mental health problems like depression. Another problem is that men tend to ignore health issues as they age. The main Movember campaign goals are first to raise awareness among men of health risks like suicide, testicular cancer, and prostate cancer. The web pages attempt to educate men on recognizing signs of suicide and others and taking care of mental health. There are web pages, videos, and downloadable materials to educate about testicular and prostate cancer, such as recognizing the symptoms and learning when to get screened and how to screen. The second goal of the campaign is to get men to take control of their own health. Some of the ways they do this is by sharing the stories of other men who have suffered from mental health issues or cancer. They also make a strong effort to appeal to younger men by using language and terms more common in younger populations, which in my opinion is around 30 years old, but could be as high as 45 or 50 years old. The Movember campaign uses various types of materials on their website, including online videos, downloadable PDFs with information, slogans and photographs of men, as well as cartoon-type drawings to illustrate things like how to screen for cancer, and true stories of men they highlight. The web pages themselves have a lot of educational information written about the various health issues. The reason why I chose the Movember campaign is because I could identify with the issues since I'm a male. I have also personally dealt with mental health issues like depression and anxiety. However, I did notice some things I would change about their campaign. The first is that they target a small group of men in the 30 to 45-year-old range. That leaves out a lot of young adults and older men who have the same health issues like depression and suicide, or even cancers at older ages. I also noticed that some of the facts did not match statements made by the CDC or NIH, and were therefore inaccurate. The language used is at times meant to sound laid back and perhaps hip, but they are really speaking to only a certain age group when they do that. Older men, for example, will not understand some of the terms and slang used. There are also medical terms used at times that are not explained, and that many men would not understand. I would make the language more lay and plain. Finally, most of the web pages are black and white or have dark colors. I wanted to add more color to make the facts and words pop. In these original messages about suicide, we could see some examples of the problems I mentioned. In the top example, the blurb discusses the kids, the bills, and so on. These examples do not apply well to most 18 to 22-year-olds who probably don't have kids and may still be living at home and going to school. Their anxieties and pressures are a bit different, like passing finals, or finding a relationship or a first job. Therefore, I did not feel the message spoke to a younger man. In the second snapshot, they used words like bro. They asked if Mr. Laid Back seems on edge, or if the group chat has gone quiet, or if the party animal just doesn't feel like it. I don't think my grandpa would understand any of this, honestly. Granted, they may be targeting a specific age group on purpose, but suicide rates are even more common in older men aged 75 or older. For the prostate cancer messages, I felt that some of this information is out of date. For example, when to screen. The PSA test may not even be the go-to screening test for many men, and they focus a lot on this test. None of the data presented has references, not even at the bottom of the page. The prostate fact page ends with a link to the Prostate Cancer Foundation, but no link to pages on the CDC or National Institutes of Health. Some other problems are that the paragraphs on the rest of the web page have areas in small font, which may be hard for some to read. Finally, although the page mostly uses plain language, there are areas like the treatment section that do not provide any explanation of medical terms, such as active surveillance and prostatectomy. For my recreation, I used color to break up all the black and white. If this were an actual website or fact sheet, I would use larger font. I made it clear how many die from suicide by making the number large and red. I added some CDC statistics that were missing from the original site and marked important facts in red for awareness. I also added a link to the CDC site for more accurate information. Another thing I did was take advantage of the fact that people like to read from left to right, with how information was placed on the page. Finally, I kept figures and language neutral so that the information could apply to all ages. For my second recreation, I maintain a similar style and color scheme to the first draft. Again, on an actual web page, the font would be larger and more legible. Red is used again for emphasis and awareness. I tried to make the information and site look simple and easy to understand. I made the icons at the top cover a wider variety of ages, and the rest of the icons more age neutral. The language is also any age appropriate. The information was corrected to coincide with what can be found in the CDC web pages about prostate cancer. A link to information on the CDC site was added at the bottom. As I stated earlier, the audience in the original message seems more appropriate for a 30 to 45-year-old man based on the style, pictures, and language used. My first recreation audience is any man who could know someone suicidal. My second recreation changes a prostate cancer message that again targets a limited age group to one that is for any man with a prostate. I am engaging in message targeting in a broader sense because I want my recreations to speak to the male population, but to a male population of all ages. I targeted my colors, pictures, and information to be appropriate for any age. The communication theories I'm using in this campaign recreation are cultivation theory, framing, and the health belief model. Cultivation theory says that the media shapes the perspective of the person that views it, and that people are easily influenced by what they see and read. Framing, on the other hand, is more about organizing the social meanings of the media that is presented to the viewer and influencing how they interpret that information. The health belief model is commonly used to guide health promotion and disease prevention. It can predict and explain changes in health behavior by defining key factors that influence behaviors, including perceived susceptibility, perceived severity, perceived benefits, perceived barriers, exposure to factors that promote action, and confidence in the ability to succeed, or self-efficacy. If I apply these theories to this campaign, cultivation theory is used in my recreation with the visuals. I made the number 48,000 large and red so that people remember the dramatic feeling of seeing how many people died in 1 year. It influences people to feel the risk and believe the reality as I have portrayed it in my design. Same goes for offering stats, like one person dying every 12 minutes, with the numbers in red again. The fact that so many more men die than women is also playing on ringing the alarm. When I discuss how to spot the signs of suicide in someone, I use icons to show the distance a man may take from his friends, how he may use substances like alcohol or drugs, or he may stop doing things he enjoys. I made the figures neutral, so there are no images of young or old, or black or white. It is a male problem, and we should all be aware that it can happen to anyone. For framing, messages have been designed to emphasize gains or losses relevant to health behaviors. In messages that portray a gain, benefits of certain behaviors are emphasized. In loss frame messages, disadvantages of behaviors are emphasized. In my suicide page, I tried to make the cost of not spotting the signs of suicide weigh heavily, because if one does not learn to spot the signs in someone else, it could lead to the one that dies every 12 minutes, or one of 48,000 people who die per year, and so on. The health belief model applies more to the prostate cancer page I created. This page is about the risk of prostate cancer, the symptoms, how and when to screen, and how cancer gets treated. My words play on the perceived risk of getting diagnosed with prostate cancer, the perceived severity of the disease if the person gets it, conveys the benefits of talking to a doctor about screening for the disease, should address perceived barriers to screening and care, should incite action should the person recognize he has difficulty urinating or has other symptoms, or perhaps if he gets a doctor's reminder for a checkup, and in the end tries to keep an upbeat and confident tone in plain English, so that the reader may feel he can succeed in addressing any problems with his prostate now or in the future. Here's my page of references. I've really enjoyed this class, and thank you for your attention, and have a great holiday season.